Hi all, welcome to Balkan Shipyards. So we're starting to build finally, Havaya 3025. Here's the hammer, you know it. And I fixed up the workshop, I finished jobs, I did all kind of stuff. Put this bench over here so the hammer can go forward. It used to be at the end. And I cleared out everything, I moved the spindle molder to there because it used to be here. And I'm going to basically build a hull. The Vaka is going to be built over here. Here's the ply I just came back with. So this is 8mm Poplar. This stuff's amazing. Glued up with phenol formaldehyde. Made over here in Bulgaria. No voids whatsoever. There's no voids in this material. There's no voids. You can look anywhere you want. Beautiful stuff. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, no knots, no nothing, no voids, and like I said, phenol formaldehyde all the way. Okay, so we're starting to build. I'll show you how it goes. 3 sheets of ply, glued up, butt blocks, bricks, stones, whatever I could find. Yeah, a few tiles. 7.5 meters long. So there's the model, 1:20 scale. Here's my 1:20 ruler. I use it all the time. So this has got like all kinds of ratios. I'm working on the 1:20. I think it's that one. Now, yeah, it says 1:20. And there's a quarter of the hull. Because the two side panels are identical, so all I need is 1/4. I need 1/2 of a side. And basically I'm drawing it out now. So that's my water line. You start with your water line and then you can measure up and down from it. I'm actually changing this hull quite a fair share at the moment, because I can see it in real size, and there's things that I don't like, there's things that I do like, so I'm changing stuff. Small corrections to here and to there, and then I'm writing it all down on that so I know what I'm doing. And yeah, all the fixes are written down in numbers and stuff. And basically I use bricks, I use whatever I can find, I use whatever I got, and then I find my curves and my stuff and my this and my that. Now I still got to draw the bow and stuff, but I decided let's get the coach roof done so we can see, and then we can see how we do this, and then we can find how we do that and that kind of stuff. So at the moment I'm looking for bow rake, and I want it to be roughly like make or break. I really like that bow. This is about light. We don't really care, we just do what feels right, and I think that's what boat building is about, and one day people will understand that you don't have to be a professor. This is, that dot over here is 305 from center. And that 305, if I times it by 2, is 610. 610 is the water line of the hammer. So the water line of that hammer is 610. I wanted to keep the same water line so you get a more balanced boat, more like a catamaran. But it came out too much rake on the bow. I don't want to shorten the boat. So I've leaned it out slightly, and I'm going to have a slightly longer water line on this hull, 10 centimeters longer, no big deal. I will say that on make or break, the water lines of the hammer, which is up there, and the Vaka, which you just saw, are exactly the same. They're both 4 meters. And I'll tell you, he balances beautifully. He sails nice. I mean, there's nice weather helm, the boat really sails nicely, doesn't pull too much off. I like it, okay? Even going downwind, it's not a bad pro. I mean, really, I can handle him well. Here the bottom batten is showing me rocker. I moved the bricks around 12 times until I found what I like. But I started off with, from the center, that's those 2 bricks. 2 meters away, that's those 4 bricks. 10 centimeters. That gives me 5 centimeters per meter. And then from there on, I curved it even more towards the bow. Here's the difference between the Vaka's bow that has a triangle in the front where I can open up the ply, and the Ama's bow. The Ama's bow is a wave piercer. I don't want to have that. I want this thing cutting through everything. So it's cut off like that, but then closed up. A done quarter hull. So I got the coach roof over there coming down, and then it comes. So it comes down like this, and that's where the akka is going to be, just over there. And then from there it rises towards the bow. These bows came out slightly higher than what I wanted. I like low bows on pros. Make or break. He's such a low windage, low bow, low everything. He's an amazing boat. I've got, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, I think I have about 9% of windage. 9% is my top sides, is my windage of my waterline, something about that. Over here we're going to 12% because I need more living space. But I found that low bows really help the bow go through the eye of the wind when you get backwinded. Whereas on my first pros, crystal clear, and then why not? They have western bows, the high style, the raised bows. You can't get that bow to the eye of the wind. I mean, no ways, mate. They just don't go through. So I like low bows, and like I said, over here I come out slightly high, but life is what you make it, and we'll just go high. So that's about 50-55 centimeters from waterline to the top of the bow. And then over there I got 80 at the moment, but the minute we build the boat and the flare and it all flares out, I'll drop down to 75, which is exactly 12%. I mean, give or take 1 or 2 microns. 12% of my 6.2 meter waterline. So this is the rocker. It starts at under 5 per meter, and then it rises. It's a variable rocker, and then over here close to the bow it climbs drastically. Rocker is just balance. I mean, it's whatever you want. You can have zero rocker, you'll have good tracking. You can have a lot of rocker, you'll have good turning. Rocker, you do what you want with. On pros, I prefer to have a little bit of rocker, but a full bow as much as I can, because the boats, they bow down to the wind, because the rig and everything is on the front, and there's no heavy engine in the back, so the back is light, because any minute it will become your front, and she will always bow down and sail nose down. So you want to keep a full bow, but if you keep in a full bow, then you got zero rocker. So you got to kind of balance it out as much as you can, and just find the line that you like. So I had many lines over here, and I came out with one that I finally like. I'm not losing as much volume on the bow, still I got rocker, and in the middle I'm flat bottom. Just the middle half meter on both sides of midship is flat. And then from there starts the rocker, and it goes gradually, and then it climbs up in the end a lot. So everything's been cut with a jigsaw, up to midship, everything. And then I take a sanding block and I go over it very nicely. I clean it up real beautiful, and I look down the lines. I want to see a nice fair line, no wiggly wogs. I don't want nothing like that, because this now is the template for the other flea. So first we'll do moving and moving and moving and plop down here. I'll do this one. Then may the force be with me. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. It has to get turned around and put down on the other one, and then I mark that one out, and then I have to turn it back around and put it in like this. So I feel the force is strong today, and we'll succeed. So finally, after flipping around and flipping over and all the flipping thing, I got one panel cut all the way. Now I got one last cut to do over here on this panel, and I got them back to back, which means that this is one bow, the two, and that's one bow. And basically now it's just hit it with a jigsaw and it's done. Two cut side panels ready to go, and it looks pretty good. Nice lock on that hull, not too much, not too little. Now basically we start have to put on chain log and slingers and stuff. Okay, so here one panel of the boat, I'm putting on all the slingers. I want to assemble the two hulls with the two halves with slingers inside. So this is the main slinger that comes at waterline, and that's exactly under my bunks. So this is a slinger that's going to hold the bunks, and it's coming at waterline. Here's a nice long scarf of 70 something centimeters, PU glue, the puffy stuff, and then it gets epoxied onto the hull. I've decided that I believe that this is a stronger connection. Instead of cutting the slinger to allow the place for the plywood, I think it's better to router, and then the slinger lies over here inside, and you get I think it gives a stronger bond anyway, and then the slinger is stronger. This is the chain log. Chain log is narrower, thinner. I mean, he's narrower, he's not thinner. And over here, he gets narrower towards the end because he has to climb up a kind of a severe hill over here. So I couldn't bend him, and the way to get him to bend was I just cut him down the middle from where the curve starts to get aggressive. And now he bends up really nicely. He's very flexible now. He will do the bend beautifully for me now. I'm going to fill epoxy, thicken the epoxy in here, and then I bend it up. It's going to squish out. It's going to all get glued up. It's going to turn into one piece. That's the water line, the brick wall. There was no way to clamp this stringer at 40 centimeters draft. You can make long clamps out of pieces of wood, you can do all kinds of magic stuff, but this was the easiest way to go, so that's what I did. And I just put a shitload of bricks on top. So I wet out the plywood and the batten with clear epoxy. Then I put in thickened epoxy with sawdust, with wood flour. Then I glue it down. This is water line. Then here we got a chain log. I'm putting in a chain log because there's no way to stitch and glue the bottom on because it's too far from the top of the boat. I can't get in there, I can't get down there, so it's easier to put on a chain log and then glue the bottom onto a chain log. So this is 23 millimeters of pine, over 8 millimeters of that plywood, so we'll over 30 millimeters of glue connection. Is going to be a 12 mil bottom on the bottom. Okay, now I want to explain what we're doing over here and why we're doing it this way. There's going to be another stringer somewhere here in the middle. There's going to be another stringer going over here at shear that will be supporting also the lee pod, and there's going to be one at the top of the coach roof. The coach roof one is easy again, you just clamp it on. Okay, clamp, 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 you're all good, you're close to the edge. These two middle ones, well, this one will get clamped over here, and over there it's going to get screwed with screws that are going to go right through. The middle stringer will get screwed all the way right through, so there's going to be holes going through the ply. Now, we're going to speak about holes going through the ply. You got a screw hole, you got a screw that's clamping the stringer down to the ply. It's good stuff, it works beautiful, it's the best. But you got a screw hole. You can fill it till doomsday. Water will always get in. Water's more clever than what you think, and it will find its way through, and you have punched a hole right through all the veneers, through all the glue, through everything, and you've gone right through the ply. That will lead to rot faster. So the point is, I don't want holes going through the ply under the waterline, bottom line. I'm going to achieve that as much as I can, as best as I can, by doing the system. And then what happens is, you got paint, high gloss, acrylic, 2-component hardener and paint. It's actually a polyurethane acrylic. It's some fancy stuff, and it's high gloss, and it's really waterproof, water resistant. So you got that first barrier, then you got the epoxy second barrier, then you got so you got the paint and the primer and the epoxy, and that's as much water barrier as we're going to have over here. The minute the water has got through all those shields, and it will, water does that stuff, it will come to the first veneer of ply. So it goes through that one too, very fast, and it hits the next barrier, which would be the phenol formaldehyde, which is the glue that is gluing up this plywood. And then that's the next water barrier. And then it goes through that one and it comes to the next sheet of veneer. And it goes through that one and it hits another barrier of phenol formaldehyde. And I'm trying to slow the water down from wetting the whole ply as much as I can. So I think it's a good method. I think this is the way it should be. From waterline and down, no holes through the hull. Above waterline, freestyle, man. Just bash holes through, clamp with screws, do whatever you want, fill the screw, fiberglass the boat, paint the boat. Whatever water hits above waterline, it drizzles off, doesn't stay there, and it's not persistent to get in. Here's an interesting side. So this panel's got the battens on it, and look at the difference. So this one hasn't got battens yet, it's just bare ply. And look, it's like chewing gum, eh? Whereas that one, it's flying quite a way over there and over here, and it's so stiff. It's amazing stiff. It's like sheet metal. This is really cool. So I'm going to paint inside, so I'm starting to write down no, so I don't want to paint the top because I'm going to have coach roof floor joist, I don't know what they're called now. So they're going to go here, little ones, and then I'm going to fiberglass them onto here and stuff. So this I'm not going to paint. And then backing plate goes here for Aka fastening block or whatever you'd call it, which goes here. Full bulkhead over here, so that's a no. Second bulkhead here, so that's a no. Middle center bulkhead. Center bulkhead is here, sorry. It's also going to be a no. I was thinking of putting it in. So there's going to be stuff put in that's going to support stuff, and that's places where I'm not going to paint, basically. So I'm starting the second panel. So the first thing I do is I want my water line. So I've marked the exact center of the panel, long ways, and now I get my water line. It's at 40 draft and at 15.5 on the stem. So 40 in the center, 15.5 over here. So I mark it here, I screw it down onto the piece of wood, and I clamp the piece of wood. So So the boat's clamped onto that, and that's going exactly through the mark, which is at 15.5, and it's going exactly through the center mark, and it's running all the way to the end. Now I have my water line, and off my water line I can start working both ways. Here I'm gluing up my chain log. I use polyurethane for the chain log. 2 side panels down. So I still got the Chinese wall over here, I've got to take it down. So all epoxy, all fillets, all epoxy, whatever, has all been sanded really well. I've used 40 grit paper, which is this hardcore stuff, and I just sanded it quickly. It took me almost a day. Sanding is the most disgusting job there is, and this type of boat building is all about sanding. You've got to kind of get used to it. It's just it's not nice, and that's what it is. 2-pack epoxy primer for metal. So this is my dagger board case, and here's the epoxy primer. It's the brown stuff, and then on top, this dagger board has been, this case has been fiberglassed on the inside, but it has on top of the fiberglass, it has the epoxy paint, the epoxy primer for metal, and then on top it has a 2-pack acrylic. It's a polyurethane acrylic, and this is tough paint. This is the bottom of the make or break, and the armor, everything, whatever goes on the water line. I always do this system, and I really like it. It's a system of paints. Paints are a system, okay? You get, it goes by whatever paint it is. It's got its primer, and then it's got its top coats, and you must keep to that stuff. Now you can go and buy all kinds of fancy boat paints. Yeah, wonderful, they're probably better, I don't know, they cost about 20 times more. They might be better, they might not. I'll tell you, this is top quality paint, and this is serious stuff. These paints have never ever budged. No cracking, no coming off, no nothing, no blistering, no, this is tough paint, and it's so hard. Like within 48 hours after applying the top coat, the 2-pack acrylic, which is a polyurethane acrylic, the stuff is hard, like it's just hard. You sand it and you feel like you're sanding almost steel. And you know what, when it's over fiberglass, I have no clacking, zero clacking, nothing's moved on no make-up leg. Not on him, and not on the armor. So I'm very happy with this system, and like I said, it's a system. So it's the primer is made by the same company that makes the top coat. The top coat is made for this primer, and this is a metal coating. And it's a tough metal coating, so I put it on wood, comes out even better. So here's the epoxy primer. This is the red stuff. I don't know if you can see it, soon you will. 2-to-1 mixture of paint and hardener. So the easy way to do it is take a jar that's got straight walls. It's got to be vertical jar, so it's not flailing out and stuff, and you just measure. So the bottom line is to 4 centimeters. That's this line, and this line is 6 centimeters. I'm top coating. I'm putting on my final paint on the inside of the hull. This is a 2-component acrylic, so it would be a polyurethane acrylic with a hardener. 4-to-1 is the mixture. This is the only water barrier I'm going to have inside the hull. The floor I might fiberglass, so I'm still thinking about that. Here's the painted stuff, the paint itself, and basically it's high gloss. This has all been done. I've got to finish just over there. It's high gloss, and what I do is I give it about 5, 6, 7 hours between coats, and I just slap the next coat on. I come to a section that this hasn't been done yet, and you run the back of your hand on it and you feel that it's gripping. So it's actually still in the drying process, and it will make, you will achieve a chemical bond. There will be a chemical bond between the two, because this paint takes 48 hours to harden. So I wouldn't wait even close to that. I wouldn't even wait 24 hours. You got to be quick. You got to use 5, 6, 7, 8 hours between coats, not really hot temperatures, and you come and you feel that it's kind of just tacky. And you know what? Blushing it on is hard work. The blush just sticks to it, and it's hard to get it on, but you get a real nice bond. Yeah, this has been done that way, 3 coats, and I'm not looking for the best finish in the world. This workboat finish is good for me. Got an assembled Vaka behind me. Took 1 month to assemble the whole thing from bare ply, except that I started working on the armor. Made a daggerboard case, fiberglassed inside, painted with fancy stuff, and it's all ready to go. I started sanding the stems. Here's the Vaka 8mm poplar ply. Quite a few stringers inside, stiffening it up real nice. There's waterline, 45 centimeters draft, almost 800 liters to this waterline. I'm pretty happy with that. Windage topsides is 12% of waterline. Waterline is 6.2 meters long. Vaka is 7.4 meters long. It's a 24-foot summing. I left a few bare places inside. They bare because that's where bulkheads are coming. I'm going to put in a few ribs and stuff. So I don't want to sand the paint. No reason. At the bottom, 30 centimeters beam. Flat bottom, at the top 1 meter 10, and this is the Vaka, guys. 1 month. All the best. Balkan Shipyards.